let's sort of start in the beginning. What that means, did you jump into your dad's car when you were 11? Somewhere along the line, this all things started.
Oh, well, the shop you're saying?
Not just your interest in cars, just
Oh, that's in
somewhere.
cars.
Yeah. Or the first time you fixed a lawnmower. This thing had to start somewhere.
No, when I was little, they got me a little wind up caterpillar type. It was yellow too, same color as caterpillars. Wind up caterpillar. Got a T-handle crank on it. You crank it up,
Yeah.
and you turn it loose, and it would go. And they had a little spark wheel up in the top for the exhaust, like a cigarette lighter spark
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know? And it would rotate in there too, and it throwed sparks out for the exhaust. And it would go. It would run 10, 12, 15 feet. And then of course it'd wind down. Well, I'd get it, crank it back up. Of course, I wore it plumb out. They got me that for Christmas. It's the only thing I got. Well, I got clothes like you do. But I don't know how old I was. I maybe been, I don't know, 5 or 6 maybe, somewhere, maybe younger. And wore that thing plumb out. And I think I broke the spring, so I took it apart. Dad come in, seen it all apart. I said, my God, boy, you've done tore it up. I said, no, I'm fixing it. He said, you're fixing it? I said, yeah, the spring quit. Of course, I played with it for 2 or 3 days and then wore it out. And so I got in there and I could see where the spring was broke, the end of it. And I thought, now, how am I going to fix that? Because there's a little short piece about like this off of the end of it. And then, of course, the rest of the coil, like in a lawnmower pull thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Wind up hand. And so I went out and got one of my dad's files, hand file, and filed me another notch in that spring to where it would fit down in there. Just tried to duplicate the little end that was broke off. Put it back down in there and coiled it back up. I had a time with it because I didn't know what I was doing, but I was just imagination. Got it back going. Well, he come in that evening from milking or what have you, and I'm playing with it again. He looks at it and he was amazed, like, oh, me doggone. Because he looked at where it was broken. I showed him where the little tip was broke off of it, the little nip end of it.
Yeah.
And he was amazed. He thought, oh, me doggone. Well, that was kind of the beginning of me fixing stuff. So something would screw up, like you say.
Right. So basically, God made you a mechanic.
Yeah, it turned right into a mechanic scene. And then we'd be working on some of his farm equipment or what have you. And he'd holler at me, hey, come here and help me do this or do that. And of course, me being little, I could crawl back in a place or up in underneath or get up there and my hands would go into a spot. And of course, there it went. That turned it loose, And I finally, he had the tools. He'd send me after a wrench constantly, rather than bringing all the tools. And I told him, I said, Dad, let's fix us a toolbox and we'll bring all the tools out here. And then I can just hand you what we need or you can get what we need. So he said, well, that's what we need. We need a toolbox. So one day he had some 2x4s laying there and I nailed some 2x4s together. 2x4s now, you wouldn't make a toolbox out of that. But that's all I had. I made me a little square, a rectangular deal and laid all the tools over in it. It's like 4 inches high. And I made it about a foot wide, about 2 foot long. And I found an old piece of leather belt that'd been on one of the pieces of equipment, like an old combine or something, and made a strap to where I could stick it over my shoulder and carry it. And next time he hollered for me to get the tools, I went and carried this box. Of course, it's pretty heavy. I may have been up about maybe 8 or 9 by then. And he was amazed on that. He said, pretty good box. He said you kind of made it a little heavy, didn't you? I said, yeah, but we used that for years. That thing laid around for a long time. He kind of liked the idea of me making it, And we'd slide it up in the back of the truck and haul the tools out to the field, whatever. And then as time went on, I just kept fixing stuff. I don't know. Ended up here.
Right.
A long span between there.
Yeah. Good. I just turned it